Good evening. This is Tuesday, January 6th, 14 days until the inauguration of President-elect Barack Obama. Vice President-elect Joe Biden today calling the transition team's leak of the Panetta pick at CIA without having first informed Senators Feinstein or Rockefeller, the top two Democrats on the Intelligence Committee, quote, just a mistake. Yet the transition did not make the mistake of neglecting to inform Senator Wyden, the third ranking Democrat on that committee, raising the question in our fifth story in the countdown of whether the president-elect deliberately did an end run around Mrs. Feinstein and Mr. Rockefeller, two Democrats who have failed to curtail, if not enabled, the Bush administration policy on the torture of detainees and the wiretapping of its own citizens. The president-elect today making those phone calls to Feinstein and Rockefeller, two Democrats who have indeed failed to curtail terrorism, torture after the fact, the toothpaste already out of the tube. A transition official describing the conversations as, quote, very good, adding that, quote, they shared views about the future direction of intelligence and their desire to consult closely on these issues. The kind of close consultation the transition had with Ron Wyden in advance. Senator Wyden's office telling the folks at TalkingPointsMemo.com that the Oregon Democrat had been consulted on the choice, and as we mentioned, the incoming chairman of the Senate Select Committee on Intelligence, Mrs. Feinstein, and the former chairman, Mr. Rockefeller, not briefed. After word of the selection leaked, both senators criticizing the choice of Mr. Panetta, the former White House chief of staff for President Clinton, a former congressman, member of the Iraq Study Group, claiming that the agency needs to be led by an experienced intelligence professional. This afternoon, after her phone calls with the president-elect and the vice president-elect, Senator Feinstein telling Talking Points Memo that she, quotes, understands the transition's thinking in choosing Panetta, describing herself as very respectful of the president's authority. This is the man Obama has chosen. President-elect Obama, meanwhile, hastening to point out, albeit jokingly, that he has not officially chosen anybody yet.
I haven't made a formal announcement about my intelligence team. That may be him calling now. Finding out where it's at. I have the utmost respect for Leon Panetta. I think that he is one of the finest public servants that we've had. He brings extraordinary management skills, great political savvy, impeccable record of integrity.
In a moment, Rachel Maddow on this. First, time to call in our own Howard Fineman, senior Washington correspondent for Newsweek magazine. Howard, good evening.
Hi, Keith.
Even if the assessment of the deliberateness of this can't be definitively answered, is it not significant, at least, that the transition team consulted on this pick of Leon Panetta with the number 3 Democrat on the Senate Intelligence Committee instead of going to either the incoming chairperson or the former chairman?
Sure, it's significant because the Obama team was trying to take the mountain by stealth in that they wanted to try to clear the ground and prepare the way through people like Wyden before they tried to take on the former chairman and the chairman. This is about torture policy, as you were saying, but it's also about control of the CIA, Keith. Obama has a plan. He wants to put Dennis Blair, the former admiral, in as head of Director of National Intelligence and wants a skilled bureaucrat and savvy guy like Panetta to try to tame the CIA and make it responsive to the White House.
The leak, the pick, the announcement, the non-announcement, do we know, was this deliberate or did it just get out somehow ahead of Obama's official announcement or even official leaks?
Well, having talked to people in the Obama circle and to people on the Hill, to senators and staff, my sense of this is that it wasn't leaked by the Obama team. It was leaked by somebody on the Hill who wanted to try to stir up trouble and try to get Di-Fi and Rockefeller's backs up about it, which at least initially they succeeded in doing.
All right, so they got the backs up in both Di-Fi and Rockefeller. Now they've been called, and at least publicly they suggest they have, or at least Senator Feinstein suggests she has been assuaged. Where is this nomination at the moment? Or is it just ruffled feathers that have been smoothed over, or is there some controversy here?
No, I think there are two serious points here. One's about torture policy, and Dianne Feinstein tried to underscore today that her argument that she doesn't have a dispute on the substance of that policy with Obama or his people. She put in a first-day bill, or will be in on the first day that the Senate meets officially, to say that she is against coercive interrogation and she wants to close Guantanamo and so forth. But this is really partly about who controls intelligence. There was a new Director of National Intelligence job created. The thought is it hasn't been run very well. Now this guy, Dennis Blair, who I think is going to be named, is going to run it, and Panetta is going to be the kind of chief operating officer to make the thing run properly. That's what the argument is really going to be about. I think in the end, Panetta will be confirmed in tandem with Dennis Blair. My understanding is Obama is going to nominate both of them at the same time.
This level of asserting themselves out of the Democrats all of a sudden, why did we not see this level of standing up for your position, no matter which one it was in this equation, when a Republican was in the White House?
Well, that's simple enough. It was the election results, Keith. It was the sweeping nature of the victory, not only for Obama, but for Democrats. They're in town now. The 111th Congress has begun, however tumultuously. They're going to assert themselves, and they're going to try to get up ahead of steam before January 20th. This has been a fascinating period, though, Keith, where, some administrative problems, the difficulties, the partisanship is already showing even before what is supposed to be the nonpartisan celebration of the country itself on January 20th.
And the specific, last point, Howard, the specific criticism of Panetta as more of a political person, as an executive, as opposed to an intelligence guy, is that something of a paper tiger here? Because it seems that maybe 50% of past CIA directors have matched his resume pretty much line for line.
Yeah, and don't forget, as chief of staff under Bill Clinton, he saw the intelligence briefings every day, although some people have pointed out he didn't know what was going on with Monica Lewinsky, so how good a spy could he be? But yeah, he knew what was going on, and he knows how to make the government work and how to make the government adhere to the policy of the president, which is going to be very much different from the one that George Bush has. That's the point. There have been plenty of political people in the job at the CIA, especially George H.W. Bush, who did a very good job in what is also a very political agency.
All right, well, congratulations. 6 days into the new year, and I hear that old familiar name once again, and that was Lewinsky.
No, why not?
Well, that's the record so far. 6 is the longest I've ever gotten in the year since then. Howard Fineman of MSNBC and Newsweek and the Big Show Alumni Association, as always, great thanks, Howard.
Thanks, Keith.